Hello, this is Nicholas Tanek from YourKinkyFriends.com, and I have a wonderful guest tonight. She is a radio host on Slave Nation from Beaten Path, Beaten Path Productions. Basically, she hosts a radio show. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about being a slave. We're going to talk about waist training. We're going to talk a whole bunch of stuff. So please welcome Antique Deb from Slave Nation Radio.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'll go for the obvious that I never want to tell anyone. I'm 49. I've been in the lifestyle about, I can't figure it out because math class is hard. I've made over 20 years, 25 years. I'm a natural slave. It's part of my personality. It's not something I choose to be. It's just who I am. I didn't realize there were people like me until I got on my first computer, and then I went on, and then that was it. I was on the go. I have a son. He's a dominant. He knows I do my show, but he's 31, so I'm not correcting him. So just I really love antiques. That's how I got my name, Antique Deb. Not not my age.
We're definitely going to talk about the slave stuff.
Okay.
That's definitely something I want to talk about. But let's start off with the radio show. Well, first of all, no, sorry. Let's start off with. I'm always curious of how people just kind of start off becoming kinky and coming out as kinky people. Tell us about that.
It's just something that I think was always in me. I think because you were in the punk scene, rave scene.
Yeah.
And I was a punk rocker in Los Angeles. And a lot of it, if you listen to a lot of our music, there's a lot of kinky stuff in the music. Talking about bondage and talking about, let's not even go into the mentors. They talk about all kinds of things. Hi, Tilly. I think that's my dog. I think that has a lot to do with it. And then just, being in the punk scene, I think there's a natural kinkiness to it. It's alternate. I always looked in my relationships. It's one of my analogies was when I was with my son's father, and I would naturally just ask him for permission. Can I do this? Can I do that? And I remember I asked him, one time, can I go out? And he's like, well, do what you want. I don't care. You're a free person and you're old enough. And I remember thinking, oh my God, he doesn't love me. And then I thought, well, can I go out or can I not go out? Because there was no definite answer. I didn't know.
Yeah. One of the things about submission that I currently enjoy, I'm a switch, but one of the things that I really enjoy about the submission is not having to make decisions.
Yes.
You know what I mean? All right, we'll get into that. So let's talk about Slave Nation. Describe your show.
It's a crazy show. It's serious. Sometimes we invite different guests. We want to promote the kink community, people that are out there doing things like people that are writing, people that are, promoting shows, that are doing play parties, that are, giving seminars. We want to give them an opportunity to tell what they're doing, to introduce them to the community so they can better themselves as well. We want to bring informative information. So, a lot of beginners jump in and you hear all the beginning horror stories of where they get damaged. So we want to try to prevent some of that if possible. We want to, promote a little bit of safety. We want to bring informative topics, learn things. We also do stunts on our show. Yeah. I'd like to say we've lost all dignity and shame. People will tell us to try things. So we've done clove oil on the show. It's audio. We don't do it on video. We've done the clove oil. We did sugar waxing. I was the recipient of that. we did ginger and we reviewed it. We've done enemas and reviewed them. If someone says try this, we're the kids that don't need the double dog dare.
Speaking of clove oil, it's funny. I'm kind of used to clove oil because I've had toothaches and I've had back teeth extracted, and clove oil is excellent for numbing it. But at first, when you put it on your or oil of clove, basically, when you put it on your tooth, then you're like because it burns. But then then you're like, oh, the toothache is gone. Okay, so how did this radio show, Slave Nation? Before I ask the question, must I tell everybody I'm going to be on your show?
Yes, Sunday.
This Sunday, 7 p.m. Tell everybody watching or listening how they could listen to it.
You tune into beatenpath.caster.fm on the internet.
Okay. Yep. And on the webpage for this, there will be a link, so you could check that link out. So yeah, this Sunday, 7 p.m. It's gonna be great. Can't wait. Okay, so how did this get started? This Slave Nation Radio.
Well, I was originally on a different station, and he doesn't want his station mentioned or his name. Okay. And it just, things were just. I wanted to progress. So Kiss King made this station. And, when I saw that, when I first heard there was Kink Radio, I'm like, I want a show. I want to get out there and talk. And it just progressed from there.
Okay. How did you meet Kiss King?
I met him online.
Oh, okay.
And we were just.
So you reached out to him? Okay. So shout out to Kiss King. He's a good guy. Friend of mine. Okay. And also, someone who's also involved in the, Beaten Path production is a friend of mine who's been on my show called One Rule Supersedes. Shout out to him.
Lou.
Yeah.
Love Lou. He's a great guy.
Yeah, Lou's a good guy. He's a fellow Jersey guy. How did you meet him?
I met him from another DJ of ours, Yitzy, which I think you know too. And okay. He does strictly music. If you like music, turn into his show. He does it for rock music from all over the world and all kinds of music. But I met him through him. Oh, did you have a question?
Pardon me?
Oh, did you have a question? Looks like you were.
No. Well, I was okay. You met him through him. That's yeah. Fun answer.
Go ahead.
Speaking of music, I sent some music suggestions for my show, and I don't know if you noticed or you listened to any of them, but they're all Halloween kind of based.
Mm-hmm. I looked at them and I was like, oh yeah, he put Bauhaus on there. I was really excited.
Yeah. I also put the Shags. You know who the Shags are?
I'll have to listen to them. Sometimes I don't know all the names, but I'll know the songs.
The Shags are an old 60s band of three women who they're like kind of frumpy, homey type, sisters, and their father was a maniac, and was like, "You're gonna be in a band. You're gonna be in a band." And they made a song called "It's Halloween," and it's just the concoction. They didn't have any talent. They put out the album themselves. They didn't have any talent, so it's like it's like children who never had picked up a guitar, drum, or a bass, trying to make music, and it's like, it's Halloween. It's so crazy. It's funny stuff. Okay, so now shows evolve. For example, I'm friends with a guy named Tom Sharpling. He does the Best Show, and he was at WFMU. So it was the Best Show in WFMU, and it started out just music, and then they made something called Rock Rotten Rule, which is a guy called saying that he wrote a book that was the ultimate argument settler. A band either rocks, a band either rots, or rules, right? And then he got callers coming in because they were like, he was saying this like outlandish stuff, and you know how music heads get, right? They, there's like, for example, he said, David Bowie rocks because there's too many changes, like the song "Too Many Changes," and the madness invented ska or something like that. Like he was saying all this stuff that was like untrue on purpose to bait people, to bait the callers, and the callers would call in and get furious. And it's really funny. Like you could find it on YouTube. It's really, really funny. And then eventually that evolved. That made the show change into this whole kind of format. Is there what kind of evolution for your show do you want to do in the future?
I would like to do more, take my show on the road.
Me too. I want to take this show on the road too.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll meet up.
Yeah, maybe we could do a show together.
That'd be awesome. So I'd like to get on the road. I'm working on, excuse me. I want to do more video demonstrations. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and put clove oil on my clit and then video that because I'm just not going to do nudity on there. But, the audio I can handle. But, more things like, we can do the live wax play and live, a cropping, a caning, whatever. I don't particularly like being naked itself, but so things that you can do with your clothes on, I would demonstrate on videos and on my show as well. I'd like to have. Go ahead.
I always prefer lingerie anyway. So, like the best porn or the best, like for me at least, is when I have a lingerie fetish. So there you go.
I mean, and you can see from the photos that I sent you that they're a little risque, but everything's covered.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So
now, when it comes to you play music on the show as well, right?
Yes, I do. Everyone hates it.
Yeah, you special. I mean, do you have certain themes for each episode, or what kind of music do you play the most?
Well, I tend to go towards punk, new wave, and stuff. My music never really makes any sense because I may start off, let's say, I could even start off with rock, like at the Beatles, and then you get to the end, and somewhere in the middle, like we'll have the Misfits or GBH, and then by the end, we're doing Eddie Cantor from the 20s. It just makes no sense because it's just whatever pops into my head and I'm feeling like.
Now, do you do this from your home studio, or do you go to the actual studio to do it?
I'm at home right now, so we do it.
All right, great. All right, let's get kinky. Let's talk about slaves. First of all, when you are in that master-slave dynamic, is it 24/7?
Yes.
Okay, and what are some of the challenges you face when it is 24/7?
Oh, the challenges is, well, sometimes there's just things you don't want to do. I mean, there's always, something you don't want to do. And the challenge is trying not to get out of it and to get in there and do it to the best of your ability. Sometimes it's hard because you need to make a decision and you can't get a hold of your master. That's always difficult. A lot of the difficulty is if you're not micromanaged, so he's not like on top of you all the time, and you're left home alone, and you have your chores, and you wait till the end of the day to squeeze them all together because you're an irresponsible slave.
Okay, so how does one become a slave? I mean, is it something that you talk about at first? Is it how does one become a slave?
Well, I don't think it's you become a slave. You're either a slave or you're not. It's not like, when you're submissive and you do the play part, and, like a weekend warrior, you like the play parties and just the play part of it. It's either you need that guidance, you need that structure, you need that dominance over you constantly, and that, that close bond that you have with your master, or you don't. But I think it comes in because you're not always aware that there are other people like you. And once you are, then you can find where to find a match that is good for you instead
Okay.
of ending up with someone who's vanilla and you're going, oh my gosh, and you're wondering why you're not complete, why you're nervous, why you're unfulfilled, and what's wrong with your relationship. You're not wondering that when you're in the dynamic you're supposed to be in.
Now, what are some of your slave duties?
Oh, slave duties are whatever your master says, sex, laundry, cooking, cleaning, exercising, looking good. It's what the right master whatever the master you find, what you have to see if you can fit into what he requires.
Okay. Now, are you in a current relationship right now?
I am not.
You are not. Okay. But I from our discussions in the past, you were. Um,
Yes.
so I'm always curious about how kinky people meet. So it was obviously a master slave dynamic. The last master slave relationship you had, how did you two meet?
We met online, and I think you have very few options where to meet: online, munches, play parties, seminars, kinky gatherings. That's or chance, and the chance is very rare that you're going to meet someone at your local library.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, what makes a good slave?
I think a good slave is one that can accept her punishments, one that can accept the criticism, um, one that strives to be obedient and do the best she can be and constantly be a better slave for her master.
Okay, and speaking of punishment, what are some of the typical punishments that you have experienced?
Well, I got a lot of corner time, a lot of corner time. Um, I would also get a go sit down, just sit, just go sit and think.
Okay, what would you say is one of the most I don't want to say brutal, but one of the worst punishments you had?
Well, okay, everyone's probably going to think this is crazy, but punishment should be tailored to be miserable for the slave they're designed for.
Of course.
And my master was very good. It was a writing assignment, and it was I really don't like writing anyway, and then he was very specific. It was 500 words, and nothing less than 5 letters counts as a word.
Oh, and what was the topic?
Oh, geez. I can't remember. I know I got in trouble because I told him I thought he was a bit camera happy. And I guess it was the tone and the way I said it. Um, so it might have just been on my mannerisms or not to I don't remember. It was quite a while ago, but I know I hated it.
Does he ever make, I know some dominants, male or female, make them like in school, in elementary school, write the same sentence over and over and over and over and over again. Did that ever happen?
No, it was something I would have to actually do some thinking, which is is more because if you just write it over and over and over again and you have the same sentence, that's not miserable because you have the sentence you're given and you write it over and over. It's the actual writing where you have to form something and give a complete essay and you put all this thought in, and because it becomes stressful too because you're like, if I get this wrong, and then you're counting your words and you're counting your letters and so it's a major task. And I mean it took me weeks to do this, and because I'm counting the letters and it has to make sense too, and if it doesn't make sense and if it's not appropriate and it's just a bunch of babbling, then the paper gets torn up and you start right over.
Now, this is making me think of like femdom English teacher. You know what I mean? You know, you get a whack for grammar, for bad grammar. You get a whack for bad spelling. You know, if the comma's in the wrong place, or you know, it's like you don't use a semicolon there.
It wasn't that bad. You know, I didn't get marked off for grammar or, you know, bad punctuation, but it did have to have, you know, the 5-letter words and it couldn't be intentional, like where I would take, you know, a word that was 4 letters and intentionally misspell it so it was 5.
So I mean, because I'm a writer, I've written 3 books and I write articles and stuff. And my editor is brutal, and she's also my dom. She hasn't really mixed the two yet, you know. Like, so did it have to have like an opening paragraph? Did it have to have like the real structure of an essay, like an opening paragraph in the middle and the closing paragraph and stuff like that?
Well, it did. It had to be to the best of my ability because I'm not a writer. I'm not brilliant at writing. It's not my thing. But it had to show sincere effort and be formed.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So I asked you what makes a good slave. What makes a good master?
I think a good master is one that doesn't like flinch and cave in. Because I know like the closer at the beginning, you know, you're still getting to know each other but once the bond gets there and there starts being an equation of love, then sometimes they can go a little soft. And if they don't keep that structure and they don't keep the order, then it weakens the relationship. I think there has to be a good balance. They have to be caring and care for their slave because otherwise you'll walk, because who wants to be owned by someone who doesn't think they have the best slave in the world? But
Now,
they also go ahead.
I'm sorry, go.
Oh, but they also have to keep the structure up and keep the discipline up, which I can see can be hard because, you know, I have a son and I don't know if you have children, but when you're a parent, it's hard to discipline. And then sometimes they drive you so crazy, you want to say, just forget it. You don't have to be punished, but you have to stay strong with the punishment.
Okay. Now, there's as a submissive, you know, you are a slave, so it's, you know, you're being submissive. Um, there are many different kinds of submissive. There's the brat, there's the kitten, there's the baby girl, there's the slave. You know, all of that. Do you ever incorporate? I mean, are you like completely obedient, or do you ever incorporate any of the other types of behavior, like, you know, the bratty behavior, or the kitten behavior, or the baby girl behavior?
Well, I try not to incorporate the bratty behavior, but I can throw a good tantrum just like anyone else.
Okay. Okay. Now, I know several women who are also slaves, and also several women who are slaves or would like to be slaves and likes the total power exchange type dynamic. And they're single, and some of them are having a rough time finding a master. So, um, even though you're single now, which is fine, um, what advice would you give to a woman who wants total power exchange and wants to be someone's slave? What advice would you give them in finding a master?
Well, I would say, first of all, get yourself out there. I mean, definitely sign up with, you know, Fat and Collar Space and all the kinky sites you can, but also get out to the lunches. Go to some of the parties. It's probably better not to go alone because then you're kind of prey. So if you can find a you know, another slave or submissive to go with, or even a man friend to go with, go. I used to go to parties with my friend who was a dominant, but we weren't involved. He could get into the parties because he had someone to attend with him, and I could have someone that would kind of watch over me. But I would say get yourself out there so you can meet people.
Okay.
You know, for the seminar.
And now, I find this almost like sadly humorous. There are so many what I call douche canoe doms, like really douchebag doms that just bombard women with messages, like, and just start barking orders at them and stuff like that. So, as someone who's in the community and
Mhm.
knowledgeable of the community and who has the master, has experienced the master sub or the master slave relationship, what advice would you give to masters who are looking for a slave?
Well, my advice for them is first, you need to remember they are humans with emotions, with feelings, and, with thoughts. And, as a slave, we know we're not going to get here, we're going to be told no quite a bit. But as long as we're heard, we're pretty good. I would just say, just remember that because they're slaves doesn't mean they're less than, and it doesn't mean that they don't have emotions or feelings.
Okay. Now, of course, like punishment is essential to the master slave relationship, whether it's mental or physical or whatever. Um, in your life, right? When you were in any this kind of dynamic, do you was there a time where you feel that it's gone a little too far?
No, no.
Ah, okay.
I actually look at it like a form of love, a form of affection, because if the master didn't care, he would not implement this punishment to make the slave a better person, to improve her performance, to make her the best she can be.
Okay. Now, as like a master slave relationship is different than a dom sub relationship. It's so. Do you have safe words?
I don't.
Ah, okay, interesting. All right, all
Well,
right.
there's two
Let,
reasons. Because
let's talk.
okay,
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I was just saying there's a couple reasons, because even if I have a safe word, I can be kind of ditzy. So you can give me the easiest safe word in the world, but it's just gonna fly right out of my head and not do any good.
The most popular ones. You know what's funny about safe words? The most popular ones um, is red, yellow, green, and red stop, yellow slow down, green keep going. But then, if I don't know if you notice this, but the other most popular safe words are food related, like apple or 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 banana or something like that. And it's funny if you use ginger as a safe word. Ginger is like almost a sex toy in many ways. So,
End up with it up your butt.
yeah. So you've had ginger up your butt. That was you.
Yeah, I did the ginger on my show. Well, we did
You
it.
did it. I thought you maybe someone else did it.
Oh no, my coach. She used to. She's not been able to co-host with me, but Vanilla Swirls. We both got our ginger. We went home. We played with it. We tested it out, and then we came back on the show and reviewed it.
How was it?
You know what? I gave it 2 thumbs up.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. All right, let's talk about corsets and waist training. I personally have a absolute love for corsets. The way it makes the waist look, the way they make the boobs look, just the elegance of it, the kind of pomp and circumstance of it. So, you were telling me before we started that that's something that you're very interested in. Tell us about that.
Oh well, I am very interested, and I've actually started. I guess I'm finally on my first week, because it was a lot of problems getting the corset. They sent me one; it was too big on my hips, and I have wider hips, but so the hips were really wide, but it's not hitting my hips. I mean, when you buy them, they should be a little loose because they form to your body, and they're real rigid, and then they adjust. But I've been starting that and dieting and exercising because I want to get a real small waist.
Okay. Now, when it comes to corsets, where do you get yours? Do you get them custom made? Do you order them online? Do you just get them just like off the rack? What?
I'm ordering them online, you know, after I've done this for several years and then I get my waist to where it's supposed to be, my goal waisting, I will order custom ones. But for now, getting it down, I did the research on where to get them and you know what the making should be, you know, the steel bones and the busk and all that, and making sure they're double lined and they have the waist strap. So I actually found a good place on eBay, and I'm going to be ordering a couple from Orchard Corset, who, for your people listening, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you can enter their contest once per day, and every week they give away a free corset.
Really? Or ooh, that's interesting. Wow. Okay. Cool. All right. Now, what do your I guess vanilla friends and other family members think of your lifestyle and also your radio show?
Um, Geez. Some of them, most of them are okay with it. I mean, there's very few people I don't take, like maybe the people I go to church with. I don't tell my aunts and uncles. They're, you know, really old, and I think it would just upset them. My brother, he doesn't want to hear about any of the kink part, but he's fine with it. I have a show. My son thinks it's hysterical. He actually, he actually has a girlfriend, and she is his little. So, which he's really funny because he came on my show before, and at first he was calling us a bunch of sick, perverted, mentally disturbed freaks. And when I met his girlfriend, she goes, "Oh my God, she's such a hypocrite," and she brings me out her list of rules, and I was just laughing.
Interesting. That's funny. That's good. All right. So, you are experienced as a slave, and I'm experienced and I'm out as a kinky person, and I like to experiment. I'm always interested in new things. So, is there any kind of something new in kink wise, fetish wise, or kink wise that you want to try that you haven't yet?
I want to try this so bad, so bad. I want to be suspended. I have a real big thing for pulleys. I want to be suspended and pulled back and forth.
Oh, you should. You know what? I got you now. There's a woman who, what's her name? Who I interviewed, who's great at rope. She's a what they call a rigger. Uh,
Uh-huh.
just go to the search button on Your Kinky Friends website and type in rigger, Rigger, and she does a little demonstration, like in the interview, and you should have her on her show. And she was great. She
Oh,
was
I love
yeah,
that.
Sambra, yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, and I'm doing a whole article on rope as well. So, but she does suspension. She suspends people from the ceiling and everything. Yeah, it's great. It's
Yeah,
great.
I want to be high up. I don't want to be like suspended 5 feet off the ground. I want to be up there.
Yeah, I went to I went to an event in New York City once, and there were these three Asian women, like really high up, suspended from like some beam, all tied up, all over the place and very elaborate. And um, it was weird because it's like they like didn't blink and they were just like twisting in the wind, and it was like human sails, like human sails. It was cool.
That.
All right, rapid fire questions, and they're usually not rapid fire. They always go off in some tangent usually. Okay, recommend a movie.
Gone with the Wind.
Okay, all right. What is about Gone with the Wind that you like so much?
You know, I like antiques, but I like the time period. I like the manners. I like that. Now, I believe in, now these are my personal beliefs. If everyone else doesn't, I'm not going to push them down their throats, but it's my beliefs. And I believe in the traditional roles of men going off and having their cigars and drinks, taking care of the home, taking care of the women, and then the women being the women. And that's just my belief. And it was a lot like that. Although in that movie, and there's a lot of controversy about it because everyone says Scarlett was so dominant, but she was forced to. She was left in a place where no one was there to take care of her, and she was saddled with all these other people to take care
Okay. Recommend a song.
Oh, haha by GBH.
GBH. All right. Speaking of punk. All right. Speaking of punk, I'm just curious about this. You know who Gigi Allen is, right?
Oh yes, I do.
I am fascinated with Gigi. I'm not saying I support him. I'm not. I know he died. He passed on. I I'm not saying I support him. I'm not saying I like him. I'm just saying I'm fascinated by him. There's a great movie called it's on YouTube. It's called Hated, the Gigi Allen story. What's your opinion of him?
You know, I've read some of it. When I think of him, I think about his life, and I feel so sad about him. There's something just not right. If you've seen, I've watched videos of his concerts, and people are just coming up and punching him and kicking him and hitting him in the head and throwing things, and he's all bloody on stage, and he's masturbating, and then he also had that poop fetish and everything, and it's just there was just something wrong, and he just makes me feel sad for him.
Okay. All right. Recommend a song. Oh, yeah, you did all that. I'm sorry. Recommend a book.
Oh, geez, the Bible.
Okay. Recommend a TV show.
Oh, Ugly Betty.
Ugly Betty. Okay. All right. So now we're winding down. We're going to do something called word association.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to, and please, this is going to get silly. So, we have two rules. All right. Well, basically, I say a word or phrase. You say the first word or phrase that comes out of that's in your head. So, if I say chastity, you may say lock. But if you're thinking about something else, if I say chastity, you may say potato. Okay. There's no wrong answer. So the first rule is literally say the first thing that pops into your head and don't overthink it. Okay. It doesn't have to be kink related. The second rule is we don't kink shame here. So that means if I say something that you don't like a kink that you don't like, please don't make fun of it. Just say, not my thing. Okay. Then there's the jar. Tangle Blue, love you, Tangle Blue. She is awesome. We both have a very, very absurd and weird sense of humor. And read her articles; they're great. They're on your Kiki. And so she gave me this jar full of little pieces of paper with stuff written on them. And they're not always kink related. Some of them are straight up nonsense, have nothing to do with kink at all. So, me, off the top of my head, I'm going to start, doing words and phrases about kink. You say the first word that pops in your head. And every once in a while, I'm going to go into the jar and you say the first word that pops in your head. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Let's go. All right. Dildos.
Legos.
All right. Sissies.
Girls.
All right. Straight jackets.
Fun.
Latex.
Gloves.
Race play.
Raisins.
No, race play.
Raisins. Raisins is what came in my head.
Okay, raisins. Okay. All right. Money.
Ooh, bank.
Cage.
Ooh, nap time.
Sweat.
Ooh, wet.
The daddy baby girl dynamic.
Sweet.
Okay. Consensual, non-consensual. Or rape play.
Okay. With a whistle.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Okay. The violet wand. It's the electric thing.
Oh, I love those. Purple.
Okay. Purple. All right. Chastity.
Infection.
Okay. Gangbang.
Ooh, crowds.
Splashing.
Fun drinks. I don't know.
All right. Face slapping.
Ooh, wrinkles.
Choking.
Gasping.
Okay. Whistle.
Non-consensual, consensual.
That's good. All right. Red.
Dress.
All right. Puddle.
Oh, tinkle.
Okay. Speaking of tinkle, piss play.
Markings.
All right. Latex.
Oh, can't breathe with that one.
All right. Pet play.
Not for me.
All right. And finally, scat.
Bathrooms.
Okay. Antique Deb from Slave Nation Radio. You've been a wonderful guest. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please take your time to promote everything you want. Promote your show, promote links. If, like I said, like I always say, if you have an Etsy page or an eBay page, promote that too. You know what I mean? So get all your links together and get everything from Instagram to Snapchat to the radio, everything. Go.
Oh, well, I have Fet Life under Slave Nation and under Slave _ Nation. The YouTube channel is really long. I think I sent that to you. You got to click it because you never remember it. I have a Twitter under Slave Nation, and that's about it. And Slave Nation Radio at gmail.com. You can write me, suggest things you want tried. You can tell me what you would like topics you'd like to hear on the show, ask questions, request to be a guest, anything you want, contact me there. It's done. And that's pretty much it. Slave Nation Radio at gmail.com is really where it comes together.
Okay. And I'll be on the air 7 p.m. Eastern on this Sunday, which is 28th. On the 28th of October, right before Halloween. I guess it's a kind of Halloween theme. I suggested some music to play, so you'll hear some cool songs. And we're both, children of the punk rock scene, so there's a lot of punk rock ethos, I guess you call it. Involved with those with the songs I suggested. Catch me at yourkinkyfriends.com. We have a Discord chat group, which there's a link there. And please join it. It's really cool and it's growing and it's fun. I'm at Nicholas Tanek on Facebook. Befriend me. We have a secret Your Kinky Friends group on Facebook. So you could be a member of a kinky group and none of your friends will know about it. But you have to friend me so I could add you. So do that. Friends Kinky at Friends Kinky, Twitter and Instagram. I'm on Twitter at Nicholas Tanek. You could just find me. I promote myself like crazy. Nicholas Tanek. Look me up. And also check out the books. This is great. Stay on the line after we stop the broadcast, please. I'd like to talk with you for a second.
Are we going to do on a dime?
What?
Are we going to do on a dime? Kink on a dime?
On a dime? What?
Or kink on a budget?
Oh, we forgot about that. Holy shit. Oh, God. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Oh, my God. All right. All right. All right. BDSM on a budget. I support I support high-end BDSM products, everything from corsets to toys to equipment, everything like that. Please support it and be careful, but not everybody can. So, what are some kind of BDSM life hacks for the person who doesn't have the money but still wants to be kinky?
Okay, first I'm going to start off with listen to my show because we always do giveaways. And this Halloween, we're going to be announcing our giveaway. You get to enter once per show per person, not per household, per person. And like this month, we're giving away matching butt plugs.
Oh, that's adorable.
Isn't it? Now that being said, I brought some visuals. These little babies, and I've tried these on the show, are bulldog clips. And you can put them on your nipples.
Oh, yeah.
Then I have a friend who is a sadist, and he says tacks glued to a board, and you make your slave sit on them, and you kind of push them on up in there and tack her butt. But you want to make sure they're stainless steel. We're going to go with the obvious of wooden kitchen spoons, and they come in different shapes and sizes for different tortures. We also have, now one of the things.
They sound nice too.
They do. We have two more here. The Mommy Dearest wire coat hanger.
I watched that movie as a kid, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, but always remember, we want to promote safety. Don't just start swinging it. Start soft, because you don't want to damage the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also going with needles. You can get these on eBay for about 50 needles for about $8 a box.
Really?
Yeah, they're very cheap and very fun. And those are my hacks.
Okay, and let's hold on about the needles. So, all right, since you're a slave, the submissive, they're used on you, right? And where are they used?
My arms, my back, my boobs.
The nipples too?
I used to have pierced nipples. My nipples just became unpierced. It could be done on the nipples, but I have to say the nipple piercings were the most painful things ever.
Really? Wow. Huh.
Which I even have a good story for you. I went to get them pierced, and of course you have to take off your clothes, and I was wearing a sweater dress, and I had some tights on. And I'm sitting there and I'm topless, because you have to be topless to get your nipples pierced. And the guy tells me to stand up, and I go, "Oh, no, I can't do that. I'm not wearing anything on the bottom." I real quickly realized, I guess, just stand up, you're already topless.
Yeah. Okay. So. Cool. All right. I'm sorry that the BDSM. I can't believe I forgot about that. I have a paper with the notes, so I'm gonna put a special note in the Your Kinky Friends page to make sure that the BDSM budget is at the very, 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 very end. Okay. So, Auntie Deb, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to be on your show on Sunday.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah. All right. It's getting late. My dom is calling me. Remember the rules. Be cool, be kind, keep an open mind. Stay kinky.